everyone. This is Deplorable McAllister, aka Linda Paris, reporting from Hurricane Katrina. No, actually, it's not Hurricane Katrina. It's my house. But that's a whole nother story. You can see my snarky blog at deplorablемcallister.com, and you can see the stories that I've written for the Southampton Press at historymysteryandmurder.com. And you can also see my television broadcast career at lindaparis.com. And I want to thank everyone who supports my channel. I want to thank everyone who donates. I love you all so much, and I read your messages, and it just, oh gosh, it just makes me want to do a better job. So today, I want to thank everyone who subscribes to my blog and subscribes to this channel and who leaves comments and who sends me emails with clues. And I haven't had a chance to get into my email because Katrina, it hit my house on Sunday. It's not really that bad, but there was an accident on the moving truck. Something collapsed on top of some of my stuff. So the good news is nothing that really matters got smushed, and I still got half my boxes out there, but all the really, really important stuff like my computers and stuff like that, it's all fine. And so far, all the stuff that I really love and wanted is here. So far so good. So I'm not going to get agitated about it. So I logged on and I saw that Q has been posting, and just really, really quickly, I see there's Emmy Awards red carpet event. At first I thought it meant that they were going to come out and they were going to, I don't know what they were going to do. Drop bombs, I guess, on the red carpet. Their typical childish antics. But now that I see this, I think that during the Emmys, it could be when this stuff is going to be dropping. So I don't know, but it's exciting, right? All at the end, it sort of morphs into this panic in DC, panic in DC, panic in DC. Lynch is talking. She's got this look on her face 24/7, like, did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. Like, she's ready to, it doesn't surprise me in the least. She's the first to talk. She just got this look on her face all the time, like, she's already, it's like plausible deniability. She's already building her defense with that stupid expression that she has on her, like, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, panic in DC, Sessions and Huber weekend meetings. Ooh. And I think Sessions is pulling a Columbo. Panic in DC, Sessions classified letter to Supreme Court Justices 1 and 2. RE, recusal, unrecusal, and clarity. RE, conflicts based on unclassified material. Today, highest court authority approval. So, there's panic in DC, that's for sure. And looks like they're unleashing Sessions. They're unleashing Columbo. At the end, where he's not so funny and stumbly anymore, that's what's going to happen. This is going to be a short video, as short as I can make it, because these subject matters are just incredibly interesting. The first order of business is to say, where did this skull come from? Is it real? Well, I've learned that just because there's a picture of a skull that looks like this, there's plenty of ways you could make something like this. And you could maybe even make it from real skull bones and stuff. And I don't know what you could do. But all I know is you could fake this if you wanted to, just for a photograph, just for this photograph montage. However, that being said, I've seen these before. They've been in, various places, videos, search results. And if it's real, okay, it would fit right in there. Right in there. See that head? So if this is real, then it definitely fits inside of here. What the hell's going on? Okay, there could be a lot of things going on here that are perfectly explainable. But it is an interesting meme. infographic. It says, Ananuki bankster Jacob Rothschild pretends to practice Judaism in order to establish his satanic New World Order. Ananuki, it says right here. Now, here's how I read this. Merovingians, I always have a hard time pronouncing this. Merovingians. These are the Merovingians underneath this tree. And the name of this graphic is Dragon Dynasties, and I got it off of the Q Mega Meme folder. Now, all of these people, and I think it's interesting that Templars, and then you've got fairy, elves, and vampires, Dragon Court, Scythian dragons, Transylvania, Phoenicians, which we already know who is connected to the Phoenicians. So now we have a connection, and it looks to me like there's an R1b and a Q1b. Now, I don't know if that has to do with blood types or what, bloodlines. And on the R1b side, you've got all these, like the Druids and this and that and the other. But I think somehow there is a bloodline sort of split that shares this main bloodline, that this is one side and that's the other side of it. And you've got Ashkenazi and Khazar and Royal Jewish, you've got all these people on this side. So down here on this left-hand side at the very beginning, you have the Anunnaki. And so that's directly related to this side of the Merovingians tree. The Phoenicians seem to be right in the middle of it. Now, this word Ogdoad is really interesting, and I'm going to do a whole video about that, so we won't even talk about it. But the Anunnaki, if you go up here, there's Ubayyad, which I have a lot of things about that too. I haven't really gotten into it. And then, of course, we got the Sumerians, which go up to the Phoenicians, which is Anderson Cooper and Gloria Vanderbilt, the Phoenicians. They can link their heritage back to ancient Phoenicians and Carthaginians. So that's what you have right here, that so far we're getting the Rothschilds, the Sumerians, and the Vanderbilts all up in here. This is part of the tree right here. And then when you go down this side, you've got the Egyptians and the Mitanni, the Enid, and the Nephilim. And here's another one showing the big head. Rothschild, big head. Big head, right? It's a big pointed head. Looks like a cone head. It literally looks like a cone head. So it all goes back to, have I ever seen one of these? No. If I saw one and they said it was real, if I saw one in a museum or something and they said it was real, I probably before now would have believed it. But now, would I believe it? I don't know. So what's going on here? Do they want people to think they came from this, or is there something to this? Is the Rothschild family descended from an ancient master species? First of all, master species, I don't know about that. These people are ugly. They're a parasitic race. That's what they seem like. If there's any truth to this, this seems like a parasitic race. They feed off the creativities of the people, of other people. They don't have any ideas. They just know how to manipulate and steal for themselves. Here's the first order of the whole business too. Once you validate the skull, which I haven't seen it, I don't know anything about it, just that name. But let's assume it's real, because they're hiding things from us, and it wouldn't surprise me. Then you got to go down here, and you've got to find, by the way, they did this. They created all this confusion. You got to go down there and find a reliable or something that you can believe in. And a lot of times, if it's a .org, then it's pretty good. Now this Anunnaki.org, I don't know what to think about that one. So this is called freedomtech.org. And it says fallen angels, Anunnaki, Nephilim, Watchers, the shining ones from ancient Mesopotamia. It happened after the sons of men had multiplied in those days that daughters were born to them, elegant and beautiful. And when the angels, the sons of heaven, beheld them, they became enamored of them. They started saying to each other, "Come, let us select for ourselves wives from the progeny of men, and let us beget children." The shining ones from ancient Mesopotamia. Now, I think this is super interesting. Like I say, this is called freedomtech.org. It says the shining ones from ancient Mesopotamia. The early records of the shining ones can be found in 5 basic sources. Sumerian tablets from the library in Nippur, where they are called by the name Anunnaki, Anash. In the Bible, Book of Genesis, Numbers, Deuteronomy, where the name of Nephilim was given to them. Writings in Greece that can be accounted to Babylonian priest Berossus. The Book of Enoch, where they are mentioned by names of angels, watchers, and Nephilim. And the Book of Jubilees. Now, I was interested in this. Berossus, Akkadian Bel Ray, we're in trouble here. Trouble. SOS. Okay, he's a Babylonian priest who wrote a Greek history of Babylonia in the first half of the 3rd century. Thank you very much. The Babylonian history, or Babylonica, of Berossus is dedicated to the Seleucid king Antiochus I Sauter. So I hate these names. If we are to believe the Christian author Tatian, the Babylonian history was published in Antiochus' 3rd year, 278 BCE. The same author states that Berossus was born during the reign of the Macedonian conqueror Alexander the Great, who held court in Babylon in the spring of 323, which is an interesting number. Berossus, who is called Belruyusunu in cuneiform documents, was a very important official. He was the head of the temple organization between 258 and 253 BCE. This office gave him access to the archives of the Esagila, the temple of the Babylonian supreme god Marduk. Using cuneiform texts like the Babylonian Chronicles for the composition of some he must have been responsible, he wrote his 3 books of Babylonian history. They are, unfortunately, only known from quotations by later authors. It says here, still, we can reconstruct the Babylonian history. After some topographical remarks, Berossus told us first how a mysterious creature called Oannes, half fish, half man, came from the sea and showed mankind writing, farming, and the arts. The first book also contained a description of the epic struggle between the gods, culminating in the victory of Marduk. In the second book, 10 legendary kings are mentioned that have ruled before the Great Flood. The flood itself was the climax of the second book. After this story, Berossus treated several kings and sages until he had reached the reign of Nabu Nasir, 747 to 734. The final book is the only one that may be called historical in our sense of the word. Several Assyrian, Babylonian, and Achaemenid rulers were mentioned. I don't know if I said that right or not. All from a Babylonian perspective. The death of Alexander on 11 June 323 BCE seems to have been the last event mentioned by Berosus. Several Greek and Roman authors state that Berosus founded a school of astrology on the Greek island Kos and received a statue in Athens. It is unclear whether this information is reliable. His Babylonica was summarized in the 1st century BCE by a scholar named Alexander Polyhistor. So there's a lot out there on Berosus, and I think it's really interesting that he supposedly documented the history of Babylon, but the writings were destroyed, and the people who are quoting his writings are the only way you really know what he wrote from other people's quotes. So we do have this idea coming from an ancient scholar, an ancient Babylonian scholar, Berosus, who supposedly wrote the history of Babylon, but it was destroyed. And that's really all the research I've done on this, but all of these things that are on this graphic, I continually am looking for all of these things, because this is where I think this is very important. And all these things like the reptilians and being underground and all of this stuff, it's all connected.
Now, what did you just say just a second ago? You said underground, right? I'm glad you brought that up, because right now underground's being exposed as well. The underground child sacrifices, the sex trafficking rings. Where's that stuff taking place at, Sam? Underground, in the tunnels. I mean, literally all this stuff's being exposed. Look at Jeffrey Epstein Island. They're finding he was spending $18 million to fill in those tunnels. Why? Because they had underground tunnels where they were doing the child sacrifice. They were having a dining room where they had cannibalism going on. It's all going on underground. Now, the Lord showed me something. Why is it going on underground? Because, number one, they don't have any resistance underground. And number two, they're closer to the entities digging down that they're trying to invoke. It's awfully funny, too. I read an article where the military is literally training to start fighting underground. Because so much of that's going on underground right now, globally.
And so we end up back here. Where do roads lead? Each prince is associated with a cardinal direction: north, south, east, and west. Sacrifice, collect. Classified 1, classified 2, tunnels. Table 29, table 29. D room H, D room R, D room C. Pure evil, conspiracy, Q. And we know Hillary's there. You know, I've pointed this out before in lots of previous videos. The HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, of course. But D room, there was lots of speculation as to what that meant. And when Mark Taylor says that, I don't think he would say that if he didn't feel pretty doggone confident that that's what's going on. And why would anybody have any reason to doubt it at this point? I also think these princes, they could be politicians or we don't know. They could be anybody, but they're obviously someone associated with HRC. And I have a feeling this HRC stands for something else too. It's a double meaning. D room H, D room R, D room C. These individually stand for something pertaining to this dining room or these dining rooms. Also, I'm wondering, they're down there underground and everything, but he's the richest, one of the richest men in the world, and now we know why. And he's entertaining people like Hillary, so you know they're not down there camping. You know that they're not in the rooms that were shown on the surveillance. And I did get the graphics out, and I looked for them, and I'm just not going to show them because I've got a big mess to clean up. My boxes are crunched. I have no idea what's going on. There was an accident. It was an accident. It was nobody's fault. And I think probably I don't need those things anyway. It's probably just junk. So I got to continue my unpacking. And I'm going to do these shorter videos, but it's not going to be short if I keep talking. So I hope everyone has a great Tuesday. And this is Deplorable McAllister signing off.
Oops.